Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. For those of you who don't know, I started Grumpy Old Fart to express my political and social opinions and to say things that I felt needed to be said. Unfortunately, YouTube started giving me strikes. As a hedge against this happening, I've created backup YouTube channels, Grumpy Old Gamer and Grumpy Old Ufologist. I also created a channel called Grumpy Old Fart over on Rumble, a free speech alternative to YouTube. You can find all of my stuff there, including my political opinion and current events. The link to my Rumble channel, as well as links to let you order my books, are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a Recon, the role-playing game story, and this one is titled, Payback is a Bitch. Years ago, I was running my friends Larry, Earl, Bobby, Jesse, and John as a mercenary unit in Recon. These guys were excellent players and they worked well together. They had survived Vietnam together and they were running as mercenaries. They had been on a succession of interrelated missions in Central and South America. The game year was 1978, and the overall plot was that a Nazi submarine had offloaded a great deal of gold in 1945. This treasure had been hidden somewhere in Central America. The group had been hired to retrieve the gold by the son of the captain of the vessel. Unfortunately, there had been a Gestapo officer on board, and he was still alive. He'd hired his own men to try to get the gold first. The first officer of the boat had taken the gold inland and buried it. Then he'd killed the men with him so that he was the only man who knew where it was. Both groups of mercenaries were racing to find this man, Heinrich Krupp. Krupp had moved all over Central and South America, leaving scant clues as he traveled. As the groups searched for him, they had several encounters, and finally, my group of players got frustrated. They decided to set a trap for the opposition. The trap was a great success. The other group was wiped out except for their sniper, and he was captured by the Chilean authorities. Chilean prisons are some of the most brutal in the world. The overseers took their cues from Nazi death camps, and that is historical fact. The group went on to find the gold and get rich. All was well, or so they thought. That sniper had been SAS trained, and for those of you who don't know, SAS is a special air service. It's the British version of our Green Berets. These guys are badass. They're the only, as far as I know, the only group in the world with an acceptable fatality rate for training. Anyway, he was well trained. He was along the lines of a Rambo type. 2 years later, he escaped through the prison sewer system, and he ate bark for 4 months as he hid out in a swamp. Long story short, this sniper made my group's lives a living hell for years in the game. Rubber bullets fired from a mile away, notes under their car hoods that read "Bang, you're dead," tripwires that triggered music boxes, ammo being replaced with blanks, C4 being replaced with modeling clay, booby traps that dropped water balloons. I frustrated and pissed off my group for years in the game. Anonymous tips to the IRS, who audited them continuously. Anonymous tips to the police, who searched their homes and vehicles. Car bombs that emitted tons of smoke but did no damage. Homes and property was seized. I made their lives hell, and the pranks and traps didn't stop when they went on missions either. Vehicles they relied on would be disabled. Enemies would get anonymous tips on their locations and plans. Local law enforcement would be tipped off about these crazy Americans who were there to cause trouble. Local contacts would disappear. Local suppliers would be out of whatever supplies or ammo that they needed. Just anything I could think of to screw with them I was doing. And they were not happy. Then one of the group was able to spot him on an adjacent rooftop, and they conversed. The sniper explained that they left him in the shit, so their lives would be shit for as long as he could keep it up. Finally, in 1988 in game time, The group finally tracked him to a hotel in Caracas, where they had him cornered in his room. As they finally killed him, they rolled him over, and they saw a timer counting down. There was no way they could make it to the elevators, so they ran for the stairs. This time, the trap was real. The explosives obliterated the top 4 floors of the hotel. The only survivors were Bobby and Earl. Bobby threw his M60 through the window and dove out. Luckily, there was a swimming pool below. Earl found an old dumbwaiter and jumped in. He ended up on fire down in the kitchens, but he survived. That was one of the best games I ever ran. Everyone loved it. They all wanted to play again. The ones who died made up different characters. It was just, it was one of those games that's memorable. You remember for your entire life because you had so much fun doing it. You know. When they finally did get that guy, it was the culmination of a huge story arc, and they all loved it. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.